Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Inside the Mirror. Welcome back to you. Welcome back to me. We were off last week. Like I said, on social media for several different reasons. I wasn't able, or I chose not to do a podcast last week. I've been physically sick. I've been ill. And it wasn't happening. I just didn't have the energy to make it happen. So sometimes, first lesson that we're going to share here is that sometimes you got to give yourself grace. You got to let yourself rest. I'm not good at that. I'm working on becoming better at that. But that is why there was no podcast last week, is because I've been sick. I came down with something. Was it the Rona? Maybe. Am I going to tell everybody right now? Probably not. Just know I've been sick. I've been wearing this shirt since Monday. I haven't shaved. I'm sure I look rough because I literally been wearing the same clothes for like 6 days because I've been sick. But I'm feeling better. I'm getting a little more energy. And so I felt it was time to come back on and speak. And because when you spend a lot of time with yourself, you have a lot of thoughts come to your mind and you need to get them out. So here's me getting some of these out. Let's hop right into it. This is what I want to talk about right away. It's 2020. A lot of things can't control. Craziness going on. We're still in the middle of it. Not in the middle of the year, but in the middle of the craziness. I don't think you're going to see a 2021 shift away from craziness and everything's just going to calm down and go back to normal, whatever that looks like. That's not happening. But in the midst of all this chaos, people are, oh gosh, you can't control COVID. You can't control the elections. You can't control society and the cultural issues, but you can't control you. And that's what I want to talk about, is the things you can't control. I have this tattoo on my arm. If you've never heard the Serenity Prayer, you're about to hear it. This is what it says. It says, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. So that's what I want to talk about, is accepting what you cannot change, but changing what you can. That's more where my focus wants to be, because everybody is kind of on this tip where they're just like, we can't change anything. We just have to accept that we can't change anything. I think that's a defeatist mentality, and I don't think that's the best way to handle 2020 and the struggles of life. Accept what you cannot change, but change the things you can. Have the courage to change the things you can. And that's what I think a lot of people need some encouragement in, is courage. I think 2020 we've had a lot of courageous people, frontline workers, and medical workers, and just a lot of people that have done a lot of good. But I think that there's still a majority of people that lack courage and don't want to take responsibility and change the things that they can. And I'm gonna give you a list of things that you could change immediately. Here you go. Your perspective, your attitude, the way you treat people, the way you handle daily situations that irritate you, the way you handle people that irritate you, the way you behave on the internet. Ooh, we should definitely stop on that one. The way you behave on the internet. I've seen 2020 turn so many people that I like, people I still like, that I think are good people, into bitter, hateful, displaying themselves terribly on social media, to the point where, like, I am less likely to want to interact with those people in person anymore because of the way they've behaved on social media. It's distasteful. It's immature. And I'm not calling out anybody specifically. I've seen it. We've all seen it. Immature, distasteful, not caring, not gracious, very selfish, very opinionated. Again, what you can control is your attitude, the way you treat people. And the way you treat people counts on the internet. Just because it's the internet doesn't mean you get to not treat people the right way, and it's an excuse. The way you would treat somebody in person is the way you should treat them on the internet. And something we've all seen in 2020 is that people, I get it, people are acting crazy on the internet in ways they would never act. Like, I've had several people, I haven't had many arguments on the internet because I don't really get into it with people. And I try to be kind to people, so people are more willing to be kind back to me, which is another thing that I think people should try is well, we'll come back to that. But here's the thing. I've had a few interactions with people that they were just downright in my face, nasty, aggressive, and I promise you they would not have acted that way in person to me. First of all, I would have not allowed it. And second of all, I guarantee they just wouldn't have looked me in the face and said the things they did with their Instagram fingers. So the way you should hold yourself accountable. You can control that. Again, you can't control COVID. You can't control so much. And I hope 2020 has shown you and something we've all needed to realize anyways, is that you have very little control over a lot in life, but you have a lot of control over some things in life, and you need to identify what are the things I have control over, and how can I execute on those things. Again, how you treat people on the internet. If you want to be like, oh, I'm real, I'm this, I'm that, like you think you're real, then see how you treat people on the internet versus in person. If you wouldn't say it to somebody's face, if you wouldn't say it to my face, don't say it to me in the DMs. Don't post things that you wouldn't say to somebody's face. Don't let the internet radicalize your brain from memes that is this side versus this side. Politically, opinion-wise, COVID, whatever it is. Again, there is truth to be found on both sides of most opinions. If you have an educated opinion on this side and you have an educated opinion on this side, you both probably have some good things to say. As shout out to my friend Joe Biggio. Me and Biggio have differing political perspectives, very much so. But I'm always willing to listen to him. He's always willing to listen to me, and we can dialogue and disagree and still be like, I love you, man, and be respectful to each other. And that's something people are lacking, because Joe's not going to say to me something that he wouldn't say to my face over the internet, because he's being authentically himself. He's holding himself to a high standard. So shout out to Joe as one example of somebody that's doing the right thing on the internet. Whether or not you agree with people, you still need to treat them with love and respect, and you can control that. But acting out on the internet is childish. It's childish, and it makes you look silly. In 10 years, I can go back on the internet and know that through 2020, the things I posted, the way I posted, the things I talked about, I'm good with that right now. I never tried. If I ever feel that I'm going to post something out of just pure anger or emotion or try to attack another group, I won't do it, because people are going to be able to look back in 10, 15, 20 years and see how you behaved in one of the toughest years on record. And some of you guys are going to look back and be embarrassed. And again, I'm not saying this to dig at anybody. This is the facts. This is the truth. I could name names right now, and I'm not going to. And I'm sure you could name names right now, people that are like, that's embarrassing. Like that's embarrassing the way they're behaving. And again, I'm not calling people out, but the right thing is the right thing. You should hold yourself to a higher standard on the internet. It goes for everybody. We should all hold ourselves to the same standard. We should all hold ourselves to a high standard in life. But on the internet, we need to hold ourselves to a high standard just as much, because that is real life. Those are real people on the other end. Or the people that you like, unfriend me, delete me. Like, that is so childish. That is so childish. That's like, again, it's the same move as if you were trying to have a conversation in public, and the minute someone said something that triggered you, you were like, get away from me. Like, come on, grow up, grow up. So part of this is a call to action for some people. Grow up. The way you're behaving on the internet is embarrassing to you, and it's embarrassing for me to watch. It's embarrassing for other people to watch it, and you should be ashamed of yourself, to some of you. Probably not to anybody here, because people that listen to me and follow me, you guys are good people. No, I'm kidding, but we all have our opportunities, but we all need to be reminded of what we can control, which is how we behave. And again, specifically, I wanted to go down the rabbit hole of how you behave on the internet is important, because the majority of us live our lives halfway on the internet. Half of your time is spent on your phone, on the internet, on these apps. You should be behaving. You should be at your best behavior, not at your worst behavior. And I see so many people on their worst behavior on the internet. And if I see them in person, I guarantee those people don't want to even look at me or talk to me, because they're aware of the way that they behaved on the internet. I haven't said anything. I don't call people out. I don't attack people. I post what I post, and I try to be encouraging and positive and real and truthful. It's not my job to send you a message and let you know why what you're posting is childish and the way you're presenting yourself is embarrassing. I'm going to drop that, but you get the point. Act as an adult. Act on the internet the way you would off the internet. This is a jumbled podcast, or me sitting down with the camera. Again, I had so many thoughts I'm trying to stream out and unleash from over the week. Bear with me. But again, I just want to come back to the over-encompassing topic that I wanted to start with is having the courage to change the things that you can. You can change the way you behave on the internet. You can change the way you treat people. If you have not been kind to people in 2020, it's not over. You can still be kind to people in 2020. You can. You can be respectful to people. You can change your perspective. I heard, shout out to Gary Vee. He posted a thing that somebody asked him, Gary, how are we supposed to get through this time? They said, you have no choice. I mean, you have to get through it. Welcome to struggle. And that's another thing I wanted to talk about is 2020 has, for a lot of people, has been their first real struggle in their life. And I'm not knocking anybody, but we have to acknowledge that some people haven't been through this level of struggle in their life yet. So this is their first go at it, their first go at tough times. So we need to be compassionate that there are people that are seasoned veterans that have been through crap their whole life, or been through all kinds of crap in their life. And they're like, 2020 is a tough time, but I've handled tough times before. It's tough, but it's nothing new. And then there are people on the other side of the spectrum, especially younger people that have not experienced a lot of struggle. And 2020 they are barely hanging on. And we need to have grace and compassion for everybody within that spectrum. Everybody from the people that you're like, man, this must be easy for you, or it looks like you're handling it fine, to the people that are falling apart. We need to have grace and compassion for them, so you can control the way you treat those people. And we have to have an understanding that everybody is handling it differently and going through it differently. Some people have never had a tough time they've had to deal with, so they're figuring it out. Other people got it down and they're like, this is another one, another tough time, and I've been through a million of them. So that's another, again, this is my stream of consciousness, bear with me this week. We have to be compassionate to everybody on the spectrum, whether you've never dealt with struggle or all you know is struggle. We all owe it to each other. Again, unity, and this isn't popular in 2020. Nobody wants to hear about unity, because then that means you have to listen or be even close to someone you might disagree with. But guess what? Here's the truth. Unity is the answer to so much of the collective struggle that's going on, right? If we could all unify under the idea that we all want to beat COVID-19. None of us like COVID. Nobody's down with it. Nobody's loving it. We all want to get rid of it, right? We can disagree on the ways, but we all need to be united under, hey, this is real. This is making certain people sick, and we want to get rid of it, right? That's the right way to deal with it. And the cultural issues, racial injustice, however you feel about all of it, like, we should unify under the idea that we should try to treat everybody with the same amount of respect and love and kindness and grace. We should treat everybody the same. So we can disagree on tactics, but we shouldn't disagree on the right thing to do. And even when it comes to what I was saying about how you behave on the internet, we should all agree that you should be a good person, even if it's on the internet. We would all agree that you should be a good person in real life, right? Well, guess what? The internet is not fake life. It's also real life. It's a figment of real life. It's a faction of real life. Like, people are interacting and spending their time on the internet. So it's real life. So we should be a good person on the internet. You should be a good well, again, my point, we would all agree that you should be a good person. Most people would agree. 99.9% of people would say, yes, you should be a good person. You should do your best to be a good person. But why does that go out the window when we get on the internet? Sorry, I keep coming back to that, but I can't why does that go out the window when we get on the internet? All of a sudden, you don't have to be a good person, and you shouldn't speak with maturity, and you shouldn't listen, and you shouldn't still deal with people the same way you would face to face. Some of you, and now we're going to call some people out, not by name, but some of you, and I hope you watch this. I could think of you right now. Some of you have gotten radicalized by the internet this year. And I saw you 8 months ago, and you were down, and you were cool, and we were vibing, and we're just getting along as people. And you've been radicalized by the internet and become bitter and hateful. And you think you're just being real and just telling people the truth, but really you're being an ass. You're being a straight ass. Pardon my language if you don't like it. Sorry, working on it. You're being an ass. I know some of you, and some of you hopefully feel convicted right now if you're watching this. You become an ass, and you wouldn't act that way in person. And you haven't acted that way in person, and you might now. Like, I can't put it past some of you. You might act like an ass in person now. You need to check yourself. And some of you, I've been super kind to you, and I've done things for you and been there for you. And you don't owe me anything, but I'm just reminding you. And we could quote Obama, when they go low, we go high. A lot of you love Obama and want to cheer on Obama, but you don't want to actually try to behave like he behaves, right? With respect and kindness. Some of you like the quotes, but you don't want to have to actually live out the quotes. Ooh. Sorry, I had to say that right now, because that's something that's been sitting on my chest. Some of y'all have decided that you get to act bad on the internet and you get to not be respectful on the internet because you disagree with something. That's immaturity. We're going to call it for what it is. It's immaturity. Those of you or the people that you see on the internet that are not acting or not holding themselves to a high standard as far as being a good person, it's because they lack maturity. That's it. We're going to call it what it is. They're lacking in maturity. Now, we all have areas of opportunity, but behaving on the internet as if you can just be hateful and hate this entire group of people and that entire group of people, or if you voted for this person, I hate all of you. It's because you lack maturity. And that, again, we're going to call it for what it is. You lack maturity. And so, but that's something you can control. So let's make it positive. Let's bring it back to be positive. You can control that. You can control the way that you behave. You can. Who else is controlling your behavior? It's you. I'm controlling my behavior. You're controlling your behavior. We have full control over it, right? You can't say, they made me do this, or those people make me so mad. They don't make you mad. You allow them to make you mad, right? The people that make me mad, I allow them to make me mad. And I have to backpedal and be like, no. And I don't blame other people for the way that I behave. That's something in 2020. Again, the stream, here it is. You can't blame other people. You can, but it is ridiculous to blame other people for things that you control. You know what I'm saying? Like if my bills don't get paid and I blame my neighbor Jim, I mean, I can blame him all day and, we could argue about it, but at the end of the day, like, it's my responsibility. So if something under my control is not getting done properly, it's my fault. Now, even if Jim had come over and talked all kinds of crap to me and told me I wasn't going to get my bills paid, and he did everything he could to try to keep me from paying my bills. But if he never touched my money, so I still had the capability to pay my bills, and it didn't happen, it's still on me, even if Jim got me all emotionally worked up. And I say that because even on the internet, if other people get you all worked up and you think that everything they say is hogwash and they're racist and sexist, so these are the popular words this year, not to downplay anything, but they're being overused, and we could debate that another way on another day. But ultimately, I am still responsible for that. No matter how people get me riled up and emotionally charged, I'm still responsible for the way I react. Whether I react with hate or whether I want to argue, or if I react with kindness and love and do the right thing, however I react is on me. And some of you guys are forgetting that people are going to remember the way you behaved in 2020 way more than they did in 2017 and 2018 and 2019. People are going to really remember the way you behaved in 2020. And some of you guys are setting yourself up for a complete failure over the next decade. As far as opportunities, as far as friendships, as far as networking, as far as being known as a good person. Some of you guys are ruining your resume as a human this year. You're ruining your resume as a human this year. Somebody tweet that out. You're welcome to steal it. In 2020, a lot of people are ruining their human resumes because you're not being a good person. I know I'm all over the place, but these thoughts are... You're not being a good person. I'm not judging you, but it's time to fix it. Courage to change the things you can. You can change the way you treat people. You can change the way you're behaving. You can change the way that you interact with other humans you disagree with. You can change that. It takes courage. Yeah, you have to admit you were wrong, or that you have to admit to yourself that you've not been holding yourself to the highest standard, or maybe you have to take a slice of humble pie and post differently online, and people are going to notice that and be like, "Oh yeah, oh she's getting soft, oh he's getting soft." No. It's easier to be negative and hateful than it is to do the right thing. So if they think you're being soft, they're being soft. It takes more to actually do the right thing than it does to just be like, "No, I'm angry, blah 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 blah." Not helpful. Not a lot of respect for that. Yeah, you have to take responsibility for the things you can control. Your perspective, the way you see all of this. Some people are emotionally and physically sick right now because of the anxiety and the stress of COVID and the election and BLM and everything that's gone on in 2020. Some people have made themselves emotionally and physically sick because they don't know how to process and deal with all these negative emotions. And so they just let it turn their perspective negative. Everything now is negative. Everything is oppression and hatred and evil, and it's against them. That's not reality. There's a lot of hatred and oppression and evil in the world, in America and all over the place. But that's not reality, that everything is that against you. If your perspective is everything's against you, the problem is your perspective, not the world. You think that all of a sudden in the past 9-10 months, all of a sudden just the whole entire world just turned against you. No. There are things that are broken, but everything is not against you, and there's plenty of opportunity. I'm glad we're getting here because I wanted to end on there's plenty of opportunity, and your perspective matters. So again, if you're able to see, man, this sucks, man, there's a lot of things wrong, but if you're able to have a good perspective and remind yourself of the truth and not stare at this screen so much that you just can't, you're just in the vortex of the propaganda. Because let me tell you guys, the majority of these memes and these one-sided memes and videos and quotes that go around the internet, there are people that make these for a living to rile you up. Like this, you know that there are memers. That's a real job. It's not based on truth. It's just based on riling people up this way, riling people up this way. So if you could pull yourself out of that and spend some time with yourself, spend some time thinking, critical thinking. We've lost that ability in 2020. Everybody just believes whatever they see on the internet that fits their narrative, and they lose the ability to critically think, break things down, ask questions, see what's real, filter information. That's a skill set that we've lost. But going back to, if you're able to understand that tough times are part of life, you can't play the victim forever. There's so many people, and this is not a racial thing, because I know some people are going to try to take it that way. There are people, black and white, purple, brown. 2020, a lot of people are playing the victim. They're victims of this and victims of that. And if you think you're a victim, let me tell you what we're all a victim of. We're all just a victim of, I don't even like the word victim, but we're all a victim of life. Tough things happen in life. So if anything, we're all victims of life. You can't complain about being a victim of life. You have to at some point go, okay, what am I going to do about it? As Gary said, people say, hey, how are we going to get through this? You have no other choice. You're either going to get through it with your head down, sulking, feeling like everything's against you. You're going to pick your head up and do something about it. And that brings me to, again, the last point I wanted to make about opportunity. The world is abundant with opportunity. That gets me riled up because so many people, again, in 2022, think that everything is against them, and they have no opportunities and no privilege, and everything's so unequal and so unfair, and the rich have so much, and it's just the rich versus the poor. And like, there's truth to all of that. Again, going back to what I said, there's truth in this and there's truth in this. It doesn't mean this is all truth and this is all truth, or this is all false or this is all false. There's truth in both, all of that. There is truth that there is a huge inequality gap in many areas. But with that being said, the world has never been richer with opportunity. You literally have the internet on your phone that you spend all day on. You can do anything. You can build a business, you can build an Instagram page, you can build a Facebook page, you can build a TikTok page, you can build a website, you can build, I mean, I could go on forever about the opportunities to make money or to build things or to enjoy yourself through the internet. There's so much opportunity. If you live in America and you have a smartphone, you have more opportunity in the entire world. Fact, fact, fact. This is the most free market capitalistic society, whether you like that or not. That's what it is, which means there's so much opportunity, especially if you have the internet. And I have a lot of empathy for people that lost their jobs or going through tough times. They don't have the energy for it, but a lot of you have the energy to complain and bitch and moan on the internet for hours and hours a week. But you don't have the energy to go start yourself a business or to go do something to make yourself some money or to fix whatever you're complaining about. You can do it. If you're, even if it's not about making money or a business, if you feel like you're an activist now all of a sudden and you're passionate about this, this, and this, then start an Instagram page and do something about it, right? Instead of sharing memes about how terrible it is, try to fix it. Change the things you can. With the internet, you can change a lot. And maybe you haven't had that perspective before, and hopefully me saying this will help you think about that. You have the internet. There's the internet doesn't care if you're black. The internet doesn't care if you're white. The internet doesn't care if you're brown, girl, boy. The internet is not a human being. You can build anything on the internet. There's no oppression there. There's no inequality. Everybody starts out on the internet as a person entering the internet. There's no vetting. There's no hiring bias. There's no gender or race bias or sex or religion bias. It's the internet. You can all go start anything now. Again, website, page, on a social platform. You can do whatever you want and make real things happen. I promise. I've done it. My sister's done it. I know a lot of people that have done a lot just using the internet and a cell phone. There are no excuses. There are no excuses. There's opportunity everywhere. So if your perspective is everything's against you and you're never going to be successful, then you probably won't be. And that's a perspective issue on you. That's nobody else's fault. You weren't oppressed into your mindset. Here's the thing. There is real oppression, and then there's a perceived oppression. When you convince yourself that there's no way out and there's no opportunity, that's just perceived oppression, man. That's not real oppression. It's not real oppression. Ask my buddy Ron Botonga what real oppression is coming from another country. Ask Gary Vee what real oppression is. Ask people that come from third world countries what real oppression is. I'm not taking away from, there is oppression here, but it's not comparable to what 99% of people that face real oppression in third world countries go through. So no more excuses. There's a lot of work we can all do collectively, but a lot of this work has to be done individually. Again, going back to this, accepting what you can't change and changing what you can. If you didn't hear anything else through this little rant or stream of consciousness or whatever you want to call it, I hope that you hear this. Change what you can, and you can change a lot more than you think. Yeah, I think I'll end on that. Change what you can. You could change a lot more than you think. You can change your perspective. You can change your situation. You can change your financial income. You can change a lot. You can change the way you treat people. You can change the world. But you have to have the courage to change the things you can. So let's all start with changing this, which will then change this. Yeah, I feel good about that. Thanks. I'll shave and shower before the next podcast. Thanks for putting up with me. I love you guys. I'm out. Adios.